You're good.
Okay. Gillespie ground, Cherokee 44820 at Golden State, taxi 27 right. With Quebec.
0 Gillespie ground 27 right, taxi via Bravo Delta.
Bravo Delta 27 right, Cherokee 820.
Alright, good. And just if you're going to pull up to the line here, I always like to get it over the top of that hill.
Yeah.
And then stand kind of to the right side just in case someone's coming back in, they can go to that left side.
Yeah, I just thought about it when I stopped on top of that hill there.
Yeah, it's going to take some power to get it over,
yeah.
But not a huge deal. Alright, and then if we look at the windsock as we go by, looks like wind is slightly a tailwind to the left. So when you're taxiing in like a general aviation plane, if you got a lot of wind, you need to reposition the controls to counteract the effects of it. With tailwind, you dive away from the wind. So tailwind from the left means you would dive to the right. If it's a headwind, you just turn it into the wind. So if it was like a headwind coming from the right, then you would just use right aileron. But tailwind, you do the opposite direction the wind's coming from. The reason is, like right now, left tailwind is going to hit the left wing, trying to lift it up.
Right. So
you roll the yoke to the right, puts that left aileron down, so the wind hits the top of the aileron, tries to push the aileron back down.
It's actually interesting how much it changes the way the airplane taxis, too.
Yeah, you'll really notice it if you get a lot of wind.
Yeah. Yeah, even though we don't have much, I noticed that it did have a slight effect.
And then, since you're so slow, you just want to go all the way.
All right.
To make it even better. But if you get a really strong wind, you got to make sure that you go all the way, either into the headwind or away from the tailwind. And as we make our turn, you're going to want to kind of think about where the wind is coming from, or just look at the windsock and see where the wind's coming from and position those controls appropriately.
Cessna 8520 Golf, Sky Harbor, 27 right, Quebec.
20 Golf, Gillespie Ground 27 right, taxi via Charlie.
Charlie 27 right, 20 Golf.
Alright, pre-takeoff run, brakes set. Fuel selector on fullest tank, right. Throttle smoothly at 2,000 RPM. Alright, engine instruments within green, oil temp is good, fuel pressure is good, oil pressure is good. Charging. Carb heat, check for RPM drop. About 50 RPM drop. Magneto drop. Drop on right. Drop on left. Vacuum 4.5, 5.1. Looks like we're a little over 5. Oil temperature and pressure within green. Throttle back to 1,000 RPM. Carb heat is off. Annunciator panel, press to test. All 3 lights light up. Flight instruments check and set. Nothing to do on airspeed. Attitude indicator set. Altimeter is set.
And then when it is set, you want to make sure it's within 75 feet of what it should be. So we're like 60, about 50 feet off.
Yeah.
So we're still within 75.
Alrighty, directly at 30. Right there. Alright. Right, flight controls free and correct. No flaps. Trim. A little bit up from neutral. Seats, check tracks locked.
And real quickly, the trim again, that white line should be right on the end for neutral. N is neutral.
Yeah, usually when I fly with Rick, we fly with a little bit
Just put it in
trim
the middle?
up. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, either way works.
Yeah. Alright, restraint systems fastened. Door and windows closed and locked.
Latched.
Alright. Mixture set. Electric boost pump on. Fuel selector confirm fullest tank. Alrighty. Fullest tank. Engine gauges verify. We are still in green on all of them. Radio's on. Transponder altimeter.
Or altitude reporting is what it is.
Okay. Altitude reporting.
Yeah.
Anti-collision lights are on. Alright. 127.0.
Alright, so we'll head out to the east practice area.
Downwind departure?
Yep.
Alrighty. Gillespie Tower, Cherokee 44820, ready 27 right, downwind departure.
Cherokee 44820, Gillespie Tower, runway 27 right, cleared for takeoff, make right downwind.
Clear for takeoff, 27 right, Cherokee 820.
Alright.
Charlie, final. Cessna 37 Charlie, change to runway 27 right, cleared to land, traffic is at Cherokee departing.
37 Charlie, 27 right, clear to land.
Okay, so we are clear?
Looks like it.
Okay.
I don't see anyone. We got plenty of room between us. full power, you want to check those instruments real quick. Make sure everything's in the green.
Everything's green.
Gravity tower, Cessna 2160, Quebec. Ready to take depart, runway 27 right, right downwind departure.
Chopper 8, Safari North with information Romeo, requesting westbound via Delta. Break left tower, torch Viet on this, proceed as requested by Delta, wind 290 at 1 meter. On risk, westbound Chopper 8. The other aircraft calling for departure, say again.
All right, what speed do you want to climb out at initially?
2160 Quebec. Ready to depart. Runway 27
79 knots.
All
Is your
right downwind.
best rate of climb. So we're a little fast.
2160 Quebec,
Pitch the nose up.
runway 27 right.
Cessna 2160 Quebec, holding so.
And when do we make our crosswind?
All right.
Okay, good day.
84 Whiskey, is that correct?
There's 84 Whiskey, straight in or circle?
Circle, 84 Whiskey.
There's 84 Whiskey.
The pitch for 79 is usually about 8 degrees up.
All right.
So maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, but initial takeoff and climb 79 is
Charlie, cross runway 27 left, contact us.
Listen, Charlie, cross runway 27 left and contact left.
So check your speed again. What are we at?
60.
About 90.
Right down with the park,
So,
runway 27 right.
nose needs to be a little higher.
All right.
60 correct, clear for takeoff 27 right.
So just like everything else, you know, landing and slow flight, steep turns, the most important thing is speed. So right after you rotate at the speed you need to rotate at, then when you're climbing out, first thing you check is what speed am I climbing out at, and get it trimmed so it stays at that speed.
All right.
Now we'll climb up to 4,500.
All right.
And then once you've got enough altitude where if you could glide back to the runway in case you lost an engine, there's a couple things you can do. One on your takeoff checklist is you turn your fuel pump off. Now when I do that though, I always
Watch
look at that
the fuel pressure?
Yep.
All right. Fuel pressure stayed.
And then you can go to your en route climb speed,
All
which
right.
is your 87 knot climb speed. So you kind of get to where you're going a little faster.
There's 84 Whiskey, turn left, circle southeast. Change to runway 27 left, clear to land.
So that primary objective after you take off is to get as much altitude as you can
Yeah.
in case of an engine failure. That's why VY, best rate of climb, is very important after takeoff.
Okay.
All right.
Clefley Tower.
So we'll start going over some of our visual VFR checkpoints that determine where we are. So you know what lake we got kind of ahead to our left out there?
Lake Jennings.
Yep, that is Lake Jennings.
Runway 27
So Gillespie's airspace goes right out to kind of the edge of Lake Jennings.
Okay.
And then we're heading kind of over towards a little city on the top of a hill.
Yeah.
Remember what the name of the city on the top of the hill is?
That I do not know.
The city's on the crest of the hill.
Okay, so it's Crest.
Yeah,
All right.
That's the city of Crest. And that's kind of like my point where I make sure if I'm coming back from the east, I need to have called tower and I am absolutely set up to get set up to land. Because their airspace, if you look kind of Lake Jennings, make a circle around, goes right, and it's kind of right before Crest.
Yeah.
So you don't want to go too much further than that. So Lake Jennings, Crest, and we're heading straight towards another city kind of out in the distance there. Remember what that city is?
I know that we fly over Alpine beyond Crest.
Yeah, that's Alpine.
Okay.
So the one east of Crest is Alpine.
All right.
So that's where we're kind of heading to, the big dirt field kind of right in the middle of it. And then we got another reservoir. Can't quite see the water yet, but I know it's in the little valley over there.
El Capitan's over there.
Yep, El Capitan, exactly.
Loveland's over here.
Loveland, yep. And then what about the mountain just left of us? Any idea what mountain that is?
I don't know what this one is here. I know that's Cuyamaca Peak over there.
Yep, that's Cuyamaca, that's Viejas.
Okay.
Viejas Casino is actually on a little valley east of the mountain there, so that's Viejas. Let's get everything around here. And so once we're clear of Gillespie's airspace, which technically we've been above it for a while because their Gillespie ends at 2,400, but I wait until I kind of clear the lateral boundary to switch to our air-to-air frequency, which in the U.S. just generic air-to-air frequency is 12275, which is what it is here. So why don't we switch over to 12275. And kind of listen to see if anyone's out here. San Diego East, Cherokee 44820, just north of Crest, 3,600 for 4,500 eastbound, San Diego East. So when you're talking on an uncontrolled frequency, you start and end with the name of who you're talking to.
Okay.
It's like an uncontrolled airport, like when you go to Hemet, it's Hemet traffic, and who you are, what you're doing, Hemet traffic. So same thing out here in the practice area. So what practice area you're in? So San Diego East or San Diego South or San Diego North, Northeast, so San Diego Coastal. You start with what area you're in and then just who you are, where you are. And you want to include your altitudes in the where you are call because the other planes aren't going to know your altitude.
So are we going to 4,000 or 4,500?
4,500.
Okay.
Yeah, VFR cruising altitudes, you add 500 to the just leveled out altitudes of 4,000, 5,000, 6,000. So IFR traffic cruises at just the leveled out altitudes. VFR, you add 500. And then remember, it's 90% outside, 10% inside. Part of the 10% inside, every so often you want to make sure you scan all your engine instruments. Make sure you're not like leaking fuel or losing oil pressure, fuel pressure. Your electrical system's still working. And then we're going to start with steep turns today. So remember, before we start steep turns, either a 180 or 290 degree clearing turns, depending on what the terrain looks like. And we'll give a position report. So while we're doing our clearing turn, we're now over Alpine, so you can give it San Diego East, Cherokee 44820, Alpine, 4,500 steep turns. And then you end with San Diego East.
All right. San Diego East, Cherokee 44820 over Alpine, 4,500, doing steep turns, San Diego East.
Good. And then either a 180 or 290s to make sure this area is clear.
All right. We'll do 290s, so I'll go to the south.
All right. Oh, so you're actually doing a 180 total? Yeah. 290s mean you do like a 90 right and then a 90 back to the left.
Oh, okay, I see.
If you want to keep going the same direction you're going, like you just got into the practice area, you don't want to do a 180 clearing turn because you just leave the practice area. So that's what you do, 290s.
Okay.
Or, like you're doing right now, just do a full 180. Those are your clearing turns.
Southbound over San Diego, we're doing steep turn.
And then you want to make sure to, especially for steep turns, pick a point.
Okay.
So look around, look for something that you're going to roll into and out of the turn zone, something you think you'll be able to see.
Okay.
Make sure the plane is pointing right at it.
Traffic, free up Juliet 4,500 over Palma Valley, maneuvering around the area. Northeast traffic.
So in the event, or in the case that I'm picking one to roll into and out of, we're doing a 360 turn, so.
Yep.
Okay.
So,
all right.
You got a point around here that you want to,
Yeah.
you're going to use, already picked out?
Yeah.
All right, so we're steep turns, 45-degree bank angle. You're trying to hold your altitude, so like right now, we're already 100 feet high. So you want to make sure, get the plane back down to 4,500.
800 over Alpine, San Diego East.
San Diego East, Cherokee 44820 over Alpine at 4,500, steep turn, San Diego East. So the reason we're a little high is because the pitch is a little high. So let's get that nose back down. Let's get back down to 4,500. So we got traffic straight in front of us, heading south. Yeah, during the check ride, if they want you at 4,500,
hold it,
and then do a maneuver, if you start,
right.
there's that guy. And if you start the maneuver 100 feet high, you're already outside your limit.
All right.
So it's always important. This is the easiest thing to mess up, basically.
Yeah.
So always kind of check that. There are steep turns, 45-degree bank angle. As you're rolling in, as you go past 30, you want to go from 24 to 2,500 RPMs.
Okay.
And that'll way you keep your speed, keep your altitude, because you get plus or minus 10 knots, plus or minus 100 feet.
San Diego South traffic, Cherokee to uniform, Humboldt Valley, the south end of Humboldt Valley, 3,000 feet, maneuvering.
So you always want to make sure you're totally set up before you enter the maneuver. So make sure the power's set to cruise where you want it to, the altitude's all set up, you're all set up. So, and then if you're set up, then you want to start your maneuver.
Okay.
So we're just a little bit low on the power, or 2,400 is cruise RPM.
Okay.
All right, so whenever you're ready, one to either side, because once you finish the turn in one direction, then you do one the other direction.
All right. We'll start with the right turn first.
All right, looks like we're clear. So as you're rolling in, when you go past 30 degrees, add about 100 RPMs. And you want to get all the way to 45 degrees of bank. So nose is just a little low. Another thing that can really help for steep turns, that hinge on the engine cowling, that should be pointing flat.
Okay.
Shouldn't be up, shouldn't be down. If you get it so it just kind of points flat to the horizon, you're pretty good.
All right.
So it's just a little high right now, just a tiny bit high. Our mountains are above the horizon, so you should have it pointing just below the mountains.
Okay.
And a little bit more bank. We're a little shallow on the bank. More bank, right? There's your 45. Now as you roll out, don't let that nose pop up, so watch the hinge, keep it flat. Sorry. There you go, it's trying to pop up a bit, keep it down.
There's actually a lot more elevator movement than I thought.
Yeah, it is a lot. And then just a little bit lower in the pitch, or a little high.
All right.
So as you roll out, then you already back at 24, so then you look out left and do one to the left.
All right.
So make sure you're clear left. So look out front as you roll and watch that hinge. Just don't let it fall on you. Keeping it, yep, right there's good.
Right there, 1,500 Delmar range back southbound.
Perfect. That's the sight picture for a steep turn right there.
All right.
There's just a tiny bit high in the pitch, tiny bit too high, too much pitch. So relax the pressure, let the nose go down a little. There you go. And then just make sure as you roll it out, don't let it pop up. You're gonna have to kind of push it back down. So we just need a little bit more rudder in the rollout. Nose is a little high right now on the rollout. See how we're starting to climb?
Yeah.
So just get the nose a little bit lower. But you were within 40 feet of your altitude during the left turn there. And bank angle is really good. So as you're rolling it back out, again, it's set up out here, but then right away look in here. Because if this starts climbing right as you roll out, then you get the pitch and the power back to where you need it if you're descending. But that's that sight picture that you wanted right there. That worked out really well that time. So that's why I was going to use that hinge. Hinge is a really good, kind of helpful reference to use to keep it level as you're turning.
Yeah.
All right, and let's just do a 180 clearing turn, head back the other direction.
Okay.
And the hinge actually works for any degree of bank. If you're only using 10 degrees of bank, you just have to pull back less to keep the hinge flat. If you go like 60 degrees, you're going to have to pull back more, but you keep it flat. And is that a helicopter? And if we keep turning, we'll be clear of them. San Diego East, Cherokee 44820, crest 4,500. We're doing slow flight eastbound, San Diego East.
San Diego East, Cessna 2160, Quebec, Viejas Valley, 5,500, slow flight.
Actually, guys, over Viejas Valley, which would be Viejas Mountain, the east side of that, so we'll be clear of him. So other than, looks like the helicopter over there.
Yeah, I got an Osprey over there.
Oh yeah, that's what that is. Yep. So he's going way faster than us now. He should be clear of him, especially because we're going to be doing slow flight. So we did our clearing turn, gave our position reports. You want to make sure, again, find something that you're going to use to maintain your heading during slow flight. And so slow flight, or the setup for that, trying to hold altitude, slow the plane down. So if you look, we're already in the white arc, so you can kind of plan ahead, always run through the maneuver in your head first. Right when we go down to about 1,500 RPMs, you can then add one notch of flaps, slowly start pitching the nose up.
All right, I'm gonna bring us back down to 4,500 there.
Good.
Still need to work on that a little bit. I still fly inherently pitch up.
A little too much, yeah. But as long as you every so often look in there, you can see you can catch it and just get it back down.
Yeah. Alrighty.
And the other thing that can help is, look at that.
Yeah.
If you have that set correctly, that's level, this is level. So.
Alright.
Alright, so we're slow flight. We're going to start by bringing the power back to about 15, but you're going to have to pitch the nose up slightly. That shouldn't be moving, and then white arc, you start adding flaps all the way to full. So it's kind of look out front, watch your heading, look in here if that's moving or if it's off, adjust that pitch, look in there. You can keep adding flaps, yep, just all the way to full flaps. So keep slowly getting that nose up, and you want to keep getting that nose up all the way up to climb pitch. If you hold it right here, it's going to start descending on you.
Alright.
So keep getting the nose up more, yeah, before you add the power.
I saw the power coming down quick, so I put a little bit in to retard how quick it's coming down.
Oh, alright. So then now you're about that 50 knots. This is where you start bringing that power in about 21 to hold altitude. And as you do that, you want right rudder. You see how you're rolling out of that left turning tendency?
Yeah.
So just level those wings, or level the wings and watch the nose. If the nose keeps sliding left like that, keep pushing right rudder.
Alright.
And then you look at your ball, you'll be in between the lines. And then you think you got it set up out here, you look in here, looks like power might be just slightly high today. The plane's climbing pretty well, so just a tiny bit less power to hold that. You look over there, speed's looking good, back outside. So this is kind of that scan you do when you're coming to land. You look out here, check there, check there. So why don't we do a 90-degree turn to the left.
Alright.
So as you roll left, make sure you keep the pitch for your speed, but as you can see, you're going to start losing altitude. So you want to add about 50 to 100 RPMs, not much usually, just enough to hold that altitude. And then when you roll it out of the turn, you're going to have to reduce that little bit of power. And a little bit more right rudder. Remember, this is just like climbing, where you got to have a lot of right rudder the whole time. When you roll right, a lot more. When you roll left, just less right rudder. Speed's looking good. So why don't we do now a 90-degree turn to the right.
Alright.
And same thing as you're turning, you got everything set up, then you look inside. Altitude still holding, speed still looking good. All right, so we're going to climb up to 4,700 while maintaining slow flight.
Okay.
So the idea is pitch for speed, but you want to climb. What power setting do we use?
2100?
Full power.
Full power, okay.
You want to climb no matter what you're doing, it's full power. Now as you do that, as you can see, a little bit more right rudder. And you just check inside, watch your speed. We're starting to speed up just a little bit, so pitch the nose up a tiny bit. Now you can see how slowly the plane climbs in slow flight. Some days we won't even climb at all.
Yeah.
Because all this drag we got from pitching the plane up. And then to level the plane out, it's just pitch, power, trim, but you're trying to pitch for slow flight speed, power for slow flight altitude. So just kind of trial and error there. Yep, still climbing, so just keep bringing the power back, but then you check your speed, make sure your pitch is holding your speed. Just a little bit less right aileron, more right rudder with the ball. There you go. Now let's descend back down to 4,500. So it's power for your descent, but you're gonna have to just let the pitch go down as you do that to hold your speed. And if it's not descending, then just bring the power out. So this is also how you fly the plane, updrafts and downdrafts.
Okay.
You hit like a big, strong updraft, you don't want to just push the nose down, because you're going to pick up a ton of speed. You bring that power back, but you pitch for your speed. Same thing, you hit a downdraft, you don't want to start pulling the nose up, slowing down. You keep your speed up, try and use the power to counteract the downdraft. I mean, I've been in like updrafts where I had the power all the way to idle, and we're still climbing. So it's just pitch for your speed, power for altitude. All right, let's see if we can now do a 180 to the right.
While descending?
While descending, yep. So you want to check that though, because you can see we hit our altitude in the turn. So what do we need to do?
Add more power.
Yeah, pitch power, but keep the bank in.
All right.
There you go. Yep, and it's as much power as you need. So if you've lost altitude, then what do we need to do?
Add more power.
Yeah, full power. Get that plane to climb back up to 4,500.
Wow, it really does not climb.
Right, you can see that. That's the thing that people get into when they're initially entering slow flight. They don't add the power in.
Yeah.
And the plane starts losing altitude. It's really tough to get it back. All right, we're going to recover from slow flight. So to recover, it's just full power. Retract 1 notch of flaps, but smoothly start lowering the nose to speed up and hold altitude. So retract 1 notch of flaps. And then kind of looking outside, make sure you're holding that. Yep, so there you go, speed's building up, retract next notch of flaps. Kind of out front, altitude, airspeed, speed's building up. Oh, you got rid of all of them. Yeah, you went past one of the notches there.
Yeah, okay.
Fine. And then when you're pitch all the way back down to level pitch, then power back to level power and trim. A little bit more power, 2,400. Or you're not paying for gas, you're paying for time.
Yeah.
So there's no reason to cruise like 22, 23, you know, trying to be easy on the engine. And that's 2,300. 24 is right underneath 25. Yeah, you're renting a plane, 2,400, you know, get to where you're going faster. So it actually worked out really well, both steep turns and slow flights. I think we can actually move ahead to our next thing that we're going to do next time, but we'll start introducing some stalls. So we'll start today with power off stalls.
Okay.
So I'll demo one first and then kind of show you and walk you through a power off stall. So why don't you first give us a 90-degree turn to the right.
Okay.
Make sure we're clear. Alright, so a power off stall is simulating a landing stall. It's also called an approach to landing stall. So the setup is set the plane up like you're coming in to land. So it's actually just like slow flight initially. We're just trying to slow the plane down, get into landing configuration. The difference is when we get to our approach speed of 65 knots, we're going to pretend like we're in a landing flare. Just power to idle, trying to hold altitude with speed.
Okay.
So I have the controls.
Yeah, the controls.
So the stall is caused by exceeding your critical angle of attack, too much angle of attack. So the primary way you get out of a stall is reduce your angle of attack. So what you're going to notice is that as we get close to the stall, it's going to get a little buffeting in the controls. And then when it's fully stalled, the nose is going to want to drop. All you have to do is relax some of the back pressure.
Okay.
If you push forward, it's way more correction than you need. It wants to fix itself. So if you totally let go, it's actually going to overcorrect. Just relax some of the back pressure. So we start by bringing power to 15, holding altitude, there's my white arc, so just 1, 2, 3 notches of flaps. So I'll out front, holding my heading, holding altitude, but when speed gets to 65, we're simulating final approach. Power comes to idle, and now I'm just trying to act like it's a landing flare.
Okay.
Hold altitude, lose speed. A little bit of right rudder. So now I'm going to hold it in the stall. There's your stall. That's as bad as it's going to get. There's another one. The only reason it's not recovering is I'm pulling back still.
Yeah.
So to get out of the stall, all I have to do is relax a tiny bit of pressure. See how little I move the yoke forward?
Yeah.
You're out of the stall right here. You got control back.
Okay.
Now what you got to do, full power, retract 1 notch of flaps, and a little bit of right rudder, and then pitch the nose up for a climb. Once you've got a positive rate of climb, retract the next notch of flaps, keep the pitch positive rate, and then once it's stabilized and you start climbing again, retract the next notch of flaps, and then you climb back up to your original altitude. So I'll turn us around there.
That's an incredibly weird feeling.
You can see these Warriors especially, they do not want to stall.
Yeah.
So it's a very mild stall. So all you got to do once it starts dropping is relax that little bit of pressure. Once that nose hits level pitch, you're basically out of the stall.
Yeah.
So it's relax a little bit of pressure, full power, 1 notch of flaps, then pitch the nose back up for a climb. San Diego East, Cherokee 44820, just north of Alpine, 4,500 stalls, San Diego East. So what I'm going to do this time is a proper recovery, just do one more, but right when the stall hits, I'm going to actually do the full recovery instead of holding it. You can see how little altitude you can lose and kind of how little you have to do to get it out of the stall. So it looks like we're clear. Alright, so we'll roll it out right here. Alright, so again, setting up, it's a lot like slow flight. Just trying to hold altitude, and a little bit of a downdraft there. I'll just fix that while we're setting up. So power back to about 15. White arc, 1 notch of flaps, 2nd notch of flaps, full flaps. And then when I get to 65, power idle. Looking out front, just slowly pitching up enough to hold that. Speed's coming down. And then right when the nose starts falling, relax some pressure, full power, 1 notch of flaps. And nose is back for our climb. Lost about 60, 50 feet there. Positive rate of climb. Next notch of flaps. Positive rate of climb. Rest of the flaps. And then it's just like coming out of slow flight and just slowly lowering the nose to get back to our cruise speed while we get the altitude back. So any questions about the power off stall?
No.
All right. So once we get back to level here, I'll get this all trimmed out and then we'll practice that.
All right.
I'll turn us around so we don't have to... You don't want to go much further south of Loveland Reservoir.
Okay.
Because if you do, there's Class Bravo airspace, but also the instrument approach into Gillespie goes right over the top of Loveland. So usually that's kind of as far south as we want to go. So I'll turn us back around to the north. Well, we don't have to point to the sun while we're doing this either. Alright, just turn us a little quicker, no one's out here it sounds like. Alright, so you have the controls.
The controls?
So it's just like slow flight to start with. So we're going to bring power back to 15, white arc. We can start adding our flaps, but also start pitching that nose up to hold altitude.
Alright.
And then next notch, and then full flaps. A little high in the pitch, a little too high right now.
Alright.
So 65, power all the way to idle. And just keep pulling back now to the yoke. Like a landing, just trying to hold out. So just keep pulling back, and to start with, we're going to hold it in the stall. So just keep pulling, keep pulling, keep pulling. So all the way back, there's your stall. So this is what it feels like. So now just start relaxing a little bit of pressure. All right, yeah, that's as much as you need. And we're out of the stall. Now full power, and you're going to give us some right rudder. A lot of right rudder there, and then retract 1 notch of flaps.
Okay, for traffic, Elizabeth 616 to the single Navy H60. Currently 1,600 feet MSL, about 2 miles.
And again, you're trying to roll that left turn, but you get a ton of right rudder, as you can see. Right. Positive rate of climb, next notch of flaps. And again, keep the wings level, just use that rudder, there you go. And positive rate of climb, next notch of flaps. And then keep climbing until you're back to 4,500. And then pitch, power, trim, back for level flight. And also, you don't need that rudder anymore. Yeah, now you get the nose down. Good. All right, so let's do another 180. We'll do one more of those, but we'll try and do a full recovery right when the stall occurs.
Oh, okay.
So let's just head back to the south. a little high in the pitch, a little too high. That nose down. All right, so do another power off stall.
All right.
There's your white arc. There you go, yeah. It's a very gradual pitch up. And then just slowly pulling it up, holding altitude, kind of like a landing. But this time, right when the nose starts to drop, so keep pulling, get it all the way in. There it is, relax, a little bit of pressure, full power. One notch of flaps. And yep, get that nose so you have a positive rate of climb. There, it's coming up, so next notch of flaps. And you're at your altitude, so you can start pitching down and get rid of the rest of the flaps. Good. Yeah, there you go. So then it's just pitch, speed builds back up, power back for cruise, and then trip for cruise. So that's your power off stall. So that worked out, I think, really well. So why don't we start working our way back to Gillespie.
Okay. All right.
San Diego East, Cherokee 44820, Alpine 4500, heading to Gillespie, San Diego East. So we want to roll out right about here, actually. You know where Gillespie is?
Right beyond Rattlesnake Mountain. Right?
Yeah, so you want to, they're probably going to give you a straight in. So imagine where the center line comes out, you want to kind of head towards that. So kind of going this way. What else do we want to do?
Right now we want to do our pre-landing check.
Nope, something before that.
Start our descent.
We probably want to start doing that. Gotta get the weather. So the steps, get the weather, because in order to call tower, you have to get the weather.
Right.
And you need to call tower before you get into their airspace. And while you're doing all this, fly the plane.
West Confirmation Romeo 2347 Zulu 1280 at 10, visibility 20, 25,000 broken, temperature 25, dew point 8, altimeter 29086. Localizer Delta visual approach in use, landing and departing, runways 27 right, runway 27 left. For hazardous weather information, contact HiWATS, flight service frequencies. Advise initial contact of information Romeo.
Information Romeo.
West Confirmation Romeo 2347 Zulu 1280 at 10, visibility 20, 25,000 broken, temperature 25, dew point 8, altimeter 29086. Localizer Delta visual approach in use, landing and departing, runways 27 right, runway 27 left. For hazardous weather information, contact HiWATS, flight service frequencies. Advise initial contact of information Romeo.
Okay, so can you see Gillespie?
Yes.
So what should we be doing?
What's that?
What should we be doing right now?
Probably descending.
Yeah, we should probably start doing that. If you're starting to fall behind, just stop heading towards it and circle. Stay outside of it. Because what's the next thing that we got to do?
Our pre-landing check.
Nope.
No.
Call tower.
Okay, I thought we did our checks before calling.
Well,
tower.
where are we relative to their airspace?
Pretty much right in it.
Yeah, so we got to call tower.
All right. 127.0.
Gillespie Tower, Cessna 606 Golf Sierra.
Is this descent rate going to get you down to the runway?
Yeah, 606 Golf
So
Sierra.
well adjusted until it is.
Inner left base, runway 27 left.
Power for your descent rate. Yeah, there you go.
Left base.
So we're right over Crest
6 Golf Sierra.
now, so you can tell them Crest landing with
Romeo.
Yep.
Gillespie Tower, Cherokee 44820 over Crest to land with Romeo.
Cherokee 820, go Gillespie Tower. I didn't make straight in, runway 27 right, report a 3 mile final.
Straight in 27 right, report 3 mile final. Cherokee 820.
And then you want to ident, so hit the little button.
Tower, this
Where it says
Cherokee
just a little button right there.
9082 uniform.
And that'll
with
flash
Romeo
us on his radar
at
screen.
Cottonwood, inbound.
Cherokee 82 uniform, go Gillespie Tower.
And then
Inner left base,
now,
runway 27
when you get the
left,
time, you get everything set up, and you're done flying the plane for a second, do your checklist.
Approach Approach and landing mixture set. Fuel pump on. Fuel to fullest tank. We will switch to the left tank. Left tank is switched. Landing light on as required. I usually
turn it on,
yeah, I like to use it. Flaps as required.
I don't think we need them yet.
Not yet when we get in the white.
Cherokee 18
And then
uniform,
recommended final approach speed, 63 knots.
Yeah, flaps is, remember, where you are in the pattern. So we could add them right now because we're in the white arc, but we're really far. So you add the flaps, beam the numbers on downwind, first notch.
Cherokee 82 uniform,
Turning base, second notch, turning final,
2,200
full flaps. Since we're coming in that straight in, can I look at your pattern?
Cherokee 820, runway 27 right, clear to land.
Clear around 27 right, Cherokee 820.
Alright, so now we don't need to report. Let's clear this. So it's kind of unfold the pattern, pick the spots on the ground where you're going to add those flaps.
Here's 2 Papa Golf, so let's be covering a right base.
And we want to be a little bit more to the right. You want that center of the runway?
Right base. Right center.
Right there.
All right.
Especially if you're coming in at parallel runways.
Yeah.
It's very important not to drift of the other one. And remember your speeds for each notch of flaps. One notch, 85, second notch, 75, third notch, 65. That's the speed you should be at.
Cherokee 82 uniform, runway 27 left, clear to land.
Clear to land on the left, 82 uniform.
Cherokee 82 uniform, traffic on a 3-mile final, Cherokee for 27 right.
We'll be looking at 82 uniform.
Cessna 00 Quebec, traffic 12 o'clock.
Now, if you're so high that bringing the power out isn't going to get you down in time, you can add the flaps early.
All right.
Just go full flaps, get to 65, now it'll get you down really quick.
Traffic.
But I think we're looking pretty good.
2 miles southeast bound, Cessna 2400 indicated. Number 2 following a Cherokee over Interstate 8, runway 27 left, clear to land. Quebec, we have the traffic. Cessna 6 Golf Sierra. Number 2 follow a Cherokee past Interstate 8, just past Interstate 8, runway 27 left, clear to land.
Clear to land 27 left, and we'll follow the Cherokee 6 Golf Sierra. We don't have him yet.
There's 2 Papa Golf. Number 2 follow Cherokee on a mile final, runway 27 right, clear touch and go. Make right traffic after.
You want the plane to hit those numbers,
Alright.
like 27.
Papa Golf.
Right about here's where I would go full flaps. We're still high, leave the power out.
Okay.
Yeah, leave it all the way out, because look, we're fast too.
Yeah.
So if you pitch those up for 65 right now, then look where the plane would end up. And would go way past the numbers.
Yeah.
Right, keep that nose up for 65. That's how you can tell where you're going to end up.
Okay.
There we go. We'll keep it a little lower, starting to slow down. 65 right here. Alright. And make sure you get all the way back to center line.
Alright.
Westbound formation Romeo 2347 Zulu, 1280 at 10, visibility 20, 25,000 broken, temperature 25, 218, altitude 2986. Road line to Delta visual approaching you, climbing and departing, runway 27 right, runway 27 left.
Did we lose the radio?
Nope.
Okay.
That's the COM 1's bleeding over into COM 2.
Okay.
So all the way up to your hold short lines, but stop there.
Alright.
Cherokee 82 uniform, turn left, Delta 3, then contact ground.
18.
Cherokee 820, cross from the 27 left, then contact ground.
Cross 27 left, contact ground, Cherokee 820.
All right.
2170.
You want to do your after landing checklist.
All right, after landing checklist. Flaps retracted, carb heat verify off, anti-collision lights on, landing light off, electric fuel pump is off, transponder on standby.
All right. Now we can give them a call.
Alrighty. We are at Alpha Delta?
Yep.
Gillespie ground, Cherokee 44820 at taxiway Alpha Delta for Golden State.
Cherokee 44820, Gillespie ground, Golden State, taxi via Delta Bravo, cross runway 35.
Cross runway 35, taxi via Delta Bravo, Cherokee 820.
All right.
Gillespie ground, this is Cherokee 9082 uniform, off the left at Delta 3, taxi USA.
Cherokee 9082 uniform, Gillespie ground, Golden State, taxi via Delta Bravo, cross runway 35.
Delta Bravo, Golden State, 82 uniform.
So we were just a little high that whole approach coming in, and that started all the way out in Alpine.
Yeah.
Because when I was saying, what should we do, and you said, start a descent. I went, yeah, that's probably a good idea to start. And while we're doing that, we should have been getting the weather.
Yeah.
But what you did is you just kept on level and wait until crest. And that's the common thing people do is they get so caught up in calling the tower and getting the weather and trying to do their checklist, they forget that they're way up in the air and they need to get that plane down.
Yeah.
So first thing you do, remember, fly the plane. Start that descent and look, and right after you get it in, even if you're 20 miles out, ask where would this plane make the runway?
Yeah, get the airplane
right
on the runway, yeah.
And then do all the other stuff while you're waiting. And if, worst comes to worst, you were just so close and you messed up, you forgot to do it, just circle outside their airspace.
Yeah. Yeah, it's actually amazing how difficult it was to land it being high.
Right, because what you wanted to do, you were high, and you really wanted to push that nose down to try and think you could make it, and I kept telling you, nope, get it up, get it up. And you can see, that's what you want to do, because you'll scare yourself. You came way too high, but you at least hold your speed, you'll go, man, there's no way I'm making it. Go around. But if you come in way too high and you start doing that, like trying to think you can make it.
Well, that's what I started noticing is our speed was way high.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, we can't bring the nose down because we're going to gain speed.
Right. So that's why speed's the most important thing, because then at least you go, well, I came in too high, I'm just going to go around and try again.
Right.
But there's all kinds of videos of people coming in high and fast, and then they go and they go and they go, and then they roll right off the end of the runway.
Right.
So speed is always number one, and then if it looks like you're good, then you're good. If not, you just go around, try again. Nothing wrong with going around.
I don't know if you were paying close attention to my rudder control and turns today, but at least for me it felt a lot better now that I have shoes I can feel the rudder pedals with.
The one steep turn rolling out to the right used a little too much, the left turn, but otherwise it seemed to have a pretty good handle on them. That's good right here.
Yeah, I guess we're parked right there.
Yeah, we're going to go back to that one.
All right, shut down. All avionics off.